Hey everyone, in my recent short with the LD2450 radar, I made a rookie mistake. Instead of reading the dataset, I just followed some online posts and mounted the antenna horizontally. It actually needs to be vertical. Huge thanks to the viewer in the comments who caught that and called me out. I really appreciated the feedback. So I redesigned and 3D printed a new case to mount it vertically the right way. Let's test it out and see how it actually performs now. Alright, look at this. Now that the antenna is oriented vertically, the performance is night and day. We are here at indoor skate park to stress test it with some fast moving targets. While it's not built for extreme range, its close range responsiveness is ridiculously sharp. Check out how quickly it locks onto these skaters zooming by. So far, the fastest object it caught was moving at a blazing 400 centimeters per second. The trajectory plotting from the sensor's X and Y coordinates looks incredibly smooth. And remember how in the previous short, in completely lost people walking sideways? Well, the issue is officially gone. With the correct orientation, side-to-side tracking works like a charm. Now, let's talk about a major limitation I ran into. When two people move very close to each other, the sensor groups them together and reports them as a single object. Since the firmware inside the LD2450 handles the target tracking automatically, there isn't really a way to fix this on our end. First, take a look at this door. It's a standard wooden interior door exactly 3.5 centimeters thick. I mounted the LD2450 directly behind the door and laid out a measuring tape extending 370 centimeters straight out into the room. Now can a 24 GHz signal actually track someone right through solid wood? Holding the camera, I walked back and forth along this line to see how cleanly it catches the trajectory. Starting with a slow pace, then moving to a normal walking speed, the sensor locked onto my movement almost instantly, plotting the coordinates in real time. Even when I speed things up, the responsiveness through the door was surprisingly sharp. As long as you are moving in a straight line toward the sensor, this 3.5 cm wooden barrier barely slows down. Next up, let's test something even thicker, a drywall partition. This wall comes in at about 11.4 centimeters. I mounted the sensor at roughly chest height, just slightly lower to get an optimal line of sight. Since this testing space is fairly tight, I reconfigured the max range display from 6 meters down to 3 meters. Lowering the range gives us a much more detailed view of the trajectory on our 4.2-inch display. Now for the actual test, I'm moving around inside the room while the sensor stays outside, tracking me right through the wall. Using the measuring tape on the floor as a baseline, it does a pretty solid job picking up my movements anywhere within that 3-meter window. However, this brings us to another limitation. If the signal temporarily drops while tracking you, like when the wall blocks it for a second and then recovers, the sensor has no memory of who you were. It completely treats you as a brand new target. Since the LD2450 handles its own internal tracking logic, there's not much we can do on our end to fix this ID swap. IDs aside, for basic presence and real-time tracking through a thick drywall within 3 meters, it actually handles the task surprisingly well. Overall, this is a very affordable solution and honestly it works way better than I expected. The real key to getting the best performance out of it is simply dialing it in the right sensor angle and matching the height to your target. It's definitely a great little tool to add to your hardware toolkit. What kind of project would you build with it? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, see you in the next project.